So now that you've been here for 3 weeks, how do you feel about receiving therapy?
I feel a lot better. I feel like it's helped me in a great sense in terms of being sober and not using. I feel like talking about my emotions versus just kind of, downing my sorrows in a bottle is a lot more helpful.
I know that going to therapy was not your choice. It was something that
Kind of forced upon me, yeah.
that you're required to do for probation.
Mhm.
So tell me, how do you feel about your experience? Like, what do you think about therapy? Has it opened your eyes a little bit?
It definitely has. I feel like, especially just talking about my emotions and kind of what comes to me day to day, has like stopped my ability to use, and kind of taken to that to kind of like, make me feel a lot happier.
What I notice about you is that you are determined to change. I understand that going to the military is a huge goal for you, and you really don't want something such as being caught with brass knuckles to keep you.
Right.
And, you're definitely determined to do what you have to do so that you can go to the military and you can make your mom proud. I think, and this is about you, so let me know what you think. How do you feel about maybe getting involved in a group of people who enjoy swimming like you do?
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, would I go out with them every weekend? Probably not. Would I, hang out with them during the day? Yes. Maybe it would change like my view on friends. I feel like sometimes friends are just people you go out with and get fucked up with. Excuse my language. So I think that'd be a good move for me in a sense.
And do you feel like maybe if you meet these new friends who are supportive of you and aren't, drinking around you, do you feel like maybe you could keep your old friends and not drink around them? Or
I
is it
definitely
just
think so. I think if I had like another, go-to group, that I wouldn't feel the need to kind of give in to peer pressure with my old friends and kind of use again, as well as drink.
Especially because while you're on probation, I'm sure that's something that they look for, whether or
Right.
not you're doing drugs and drinking.
Right, and I definitely think that's kind of like all I associate my old friends with is kind of like using and drinking.
Are there any goals that you want to set regarding your mom?
In a sense, I definitely do want to go at least a whole month without using. Maybe if it's drinking like on occasion, but I definitely want to go without using at all and kind of like getting absolutely drunk with my old friends as well as new friends.
And what about goals pertaining to your relationship with your mother?
I definitely want to build a relationship with her. I know she doesn't approve of me drinking. She never really has, so I kind of want to kind of cut that out so we can definitely have some like one-on-one time.
I know that you live with mom. How is the home environment like?
It's fine. We definitely get along, but as soon as I bring up the fact that I'm drinking or I'm going out, she kind of gets into a different mood. So I think if I wasn't going out so much, that we would have a much better relationship.
And does your father ever come up in discussions with your mother?
He does. He kind of like stays in the background where it's like he's not really as vocal. So he knows I go out and I use or I get drunk, but he kind of doesn't really bring his opinion into play.
And I know that you don't have a very good relationship with your father, and he wasn't really around to raise you, and and that you guys aren't close. If you could, would you change the situation with your father? And do you feel like there is hope to ever in the future change things with your father?
Oh, definitely. I feel like I have to get sober for that to happen. I feel like it's just not going to happen right now.
As well as your father, because he does, use.
Correct. He does definitely use as well. So I feel like we both have to be sober to kind of have any kind of relationship. But I've come to find that maybe it has to start on my part in terms of getting clean.
So you almost have to be the bigger person.
Right, in the sense, like I can't just kind of rely on him to be clean and then, I to follow, so.
How do you think your mother would feel about you getting reconnected with your father after all these years?
I think she would love it. I think that she's definitely suffered in the sense that, like, we both don't speak to each other or we both use, so I feel like if I kind of make that first step, then that it kind of might rekindle our relationship and she'll be a lot happier.
That's good. So, like in the last few weeks, we've been making goals, and so far you've done a really well job at completing those goals. So I definitely want to make sure that you feel like you feel good about achieving your goals so far, and I think it's really important that you set goals, and these are goals that are important to you, and that you can come to see me the next week and explain to me that you have achieved them. So in the last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks about, your goal has been to cut down on your alcohol use and your drug use, which you feel like you have done so far.
Right.
What is another goal that you want to reach towards in the next week?
It's maybe not so much being sober and not using, it's maybe spending more time with my loved ones, such as like my family members, such as my mom, and kind of just rekindling our old relationship.
And maybe spending more time with mom would help diminish your drug and alcohol use because you won't be spending as much time with your friends.
Right. If I'm spending more time with her, I wouldn't associate myself with kind of more of like the bad influences in my life.
And how do you feel your friends are going to take it when you explain that in the next week you're going to be spending less time with them?
They might not be so happy with it, but then again, it's like I have to kind of think about myself more versus like my relationship with them, since it's not really leading down the right path.
Right. And I hope that you understand that you're not being selfish by doing this for yourself. This is something that you're serious about. You need to get on the right track if you want to accomplish your goals and your dreams of becoming in the military.
Right.
And it doesn't mean you're selfish. I think that you're progressing very well so far. And you have this goal in front of you to get in the military, and you're determined to stick to it.
Totally.
Am I accurately summarizing what you're saying?
I completely agree.
So hopefully in the next week, we could discuss more about, well, you can come back to discuss to me about how you spent some time with your mother, anything special you have planned that you might want to do with your mother in the next week. What's that?
Maybe we should kind of go out to eat and not order anything alcoholic and just get water and kind of talk about more of what's going on versus just kind of relying on a substance to make me feel better or at least give me the courage to speak with her.
Is there something that both of you really enjoy doing that kind of connects you to?
Sometimes going to the beach, maybe enjoying the outdoors, may bring us closer together.
Beach is definitely a very therapeutic environment. It's very peaceful, very quiet. It'll be good to have the fresh air and just kind of, take in the environment and to be able to spend a beautiful day with your mother. The weather's been great lately, and I think that she would be really honored and really enjoy you asking her to spend some time with her at the beach.
And I agree.
Hopefully this will help things with your relationship and help you realize what's important to you.
Right.
And, maybe after spending some time with mom, you realize that you may necessarily need your friends.
Right. Completely.
And I'm sure that she would be really happy to hear that you want to spend time with her, or you want to make new friends with your swimming group or your hiking group. I'm really happy that you choose to stay active. You haven't lost sight of your dreams just because you have a hiccup in the road. Road. And I think that's very important because some people get stuck and they don't want to continue. So I think that it is very important that you're determined and you want to keep going.
Completely, yep.
Is there anything else that you want to bring up before you leave me today?
Maybe kind of rekindling a relationship with my father as well. I know we speak a lot about my mother, but I think we should really kind of fix that relationship as well, as in terms of becoming sober and spending time with him.
That is definitely a long-term goal. It's something that can't happen overnight.
Right.
So what is something maybe this week something little that you can do this week to reach towards that goal?
Maybe it's even watching like a half an hour of TV with him, kind of just spending time with him versus just kind of, isolating myself.
And I know you haven't seen him or spoke to him in a while, so how do you feel about making that initial phone call and seeing if he is willing to even see you?
I feel like it's hard, but I think it's like a phone call I have to make just to kind of rebuild my relationship with them.
I understand. Well, thank you very much for coming in to
see
me today. And I look forward to hearing more about how you were able to reach your goal, talking to your mom and your dad. And thank you, and I will see you next week.
All right, sounds great.